Welcome to a new episode of the Rebel Radio Podcast. This is Mark.
This is Matt.
From the quarantine zone of Houston, Texas. Not really. We're not quarantined yet here. We're supposed to be social distancing. So we're social distance from about 2 feet apart here as we record the show. And yeah, man, it's a whole new world lately in some ways. We talked about it some last week, and you know, it's like we want to entertain you guys on the podcast, which we hope we do, but there's no way to not talk about it. It's like it's almost impossible because it's a major world event that's occurring right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe the biggest of our lifetime by the time it's said and done. This could be. It will never be bigger than 9/11 as far as how it's affected the United States in that emotional way. Yeah. But as a world impact, this is a huge thing, and I don't know whether to get into the politics of it, whether it's media driven, whether it's politics driven. Either way, it's huge. You know, it is something serious, but at the same time, I think people are overblowing it. They're buying the motherfuck out of toilet paper. I ain't figured that one out. Yeah. We're gonna have a lot of clean buttholes out there. They are buying anything they get their hands on to eat. And there are some states that have shut down, California and New York and Illinois. But that doesn't mean complete shutdown. You're still allowed to go to the grocery store in those states.
Or essential businesses, I found out today, some of those essential businesses are liquor stores. So
right. Yeah. Well, then some states, like in Texas, we already have a mandate for, like, grocery workers are already considered aid workers, right? Yeah. So, but there are some states that didn't have that in their law, so they're passing quick mandates to make sure grocery store workers can go to work and stuff. Yeah. We have it here because of hurricanes and stuff. We have to be prepared for emergency situations. But it's interesting take on the human reaction to all this. And there's a lot of Hollywood impact for it, which is something we deal with on this show, talking movies and comics and things like that, and how it's affected the industry. A lot of movies are moving to direct digital releases right now because they were only in theaters a few weeks before all this hit. Yeah. Movie theater chains are closing, and it's crazy. We're going to talk more about that in the news later, about how it's affected Hollywood some more and the recent movie impacts. And we do even have a little bit of minor news this week despite the going-ons. But fucking nuts, huh?
It's crazy, man. It's the only way to put it. I think, I hope it blows over pretty quick. I hope we can get back to a sense of normalcy, but it's kind of just screwed everything up.
Dude, it's like completely fucked things up. And as far as in Houston, we are not on city shutdown yet. And you and I only live, 10 minutes apart. But if it gets to that point where we're not allowed to podcast because you can only go to work and you can't really come over here and hang or whatever, we'll find a way to either I'll do the show solo or we'll just postpone the show maybe for a couple weeks. We'll figure it out. But we hope it doesn't come to that. In the meantime, me and Matt are going to wash our hands a lot, and our butts, and our chesticles, and everything else, and stay clean. And motherfuckers, don't breathe on me because I might punch you in the face. And I did have to deal with like a snooty security guard today when I went to an HEB to do some work for a vendor that needed some help. He was like, I saw him a vendor. He's like, well, I need to see some ID. I'm like, I don't carry ID for being a merchandiser. And he's like, oh, I don't care. I have to see some ID. And there's literally 2 people in line outside. I'm like, you're going to maybe wait in line for 2 people. It's like, and then the guy was helping. He came walking up and was like, hey, man, he's with me. Let him in. And I was like, okay, there you go. It's like, wow. It's like, dude, don't. I mean, and this is like Chris Farley looking motherfucker. I'm not lying, except with like red hair. So he's like doing the whole thing from Wayne's World, like, I'm a security guard. I know what I'm doing here. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Like Chris Farley, motherfucker.
That's funny.
Yeah, but not as cool as Chris Farley.
But, of course, legend, man.
But people got to keep their cool heads. Save some toilet paper for people that need it. Save some Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer. But in all honesty, everybody, be safe out there. Do the best you can. We'll get through this together. We'll persevere, and hopefully, it gets better before it gets worse. Yeah. But that's easy to say. But I'm waiting for that miracle cure to come out. Yeah. I don't know. And I don't know. There's been, it's hard to believe what to read on the internet. There's talks that they're setting up these testing sites and they're going to tell everybody that's over 18 has to go be tested. There's been talks about that, I start picturing these things in movies where there's long lines of people just being tested for this disease.
With people in hazmat suits.
Yeah, like, motherfucker, you come with me. So we'll see how things go with the COVID-19 coronavirus over the next weeks, months. Hopefully not more than months, because it's only been like about, honestly, a week and a half, really, since it's really gotten serious, and I'm already like anxietied out, if that's a word, and like it's fucking with my mind, and the kids are missing school and baseball and everything else, so it's like
missing all the stuff that they like, unfortunately.
Yeah, at least we still have porn.
That's right, we do have Pornhub
and movies to talk about,
and porn movies.
That's right. But so let's entertain you for 45 minutes or so and talk some movies and download this what we've watched, streamed, and man, I probably was a little lazier than I could have been this week. But what did you watch or check out this week?
You had me check out Jay and Silent Bob Reboots.
Fucking A, about time.
It was pretty cool. I was entertained. I thought it was funny. It reminded me of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Just a lot of revamps of the inside jokes of the movies,
but that's what makes it work so well.
Yeah, too. And that's the part that I like. That's when I think that these Kevin Smith movies are at their best.
Yeah.
Whenever they're using those references from Chasing Amy, from Mallrats, from Clerks.
Well, the great thing about Reboot, it's not afraid to be meta of itself.
Yes.
And be aware that it's recycling jokes, but it works on so many levels that it makes it great in some ways. It's truly a film that he made for his fans and didn't give a fuck if he pissed off some film critic.
Yeah.
And that's what's so good about it, I think, And I like even the inside jokes of him making fun of his daughter, like, yeah, that son of a bitch puts his daughter in everything.
Yeah. This asshole. And I was like, I didn't realize that was Harley Quinn Smith.
Yeah. And, some of the actors look a little bit older in it, but they still pull off the part.
Yeah.
And, of course, we are doing a Kevin Smith film on today's show.
Yes.
So we're going to have lots of Kevin Smith talk today, and that's okay.
Yeah. And the other film that I watched this week was Jurassic World, because I had to pick a family-friendly movie, and I was like, you know what? Kids love dinosaurs. Let's put this on.
Right.
And it was great. My son watched it for the second time. We was a little young whenever I showed Jake showed it to him the first time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a good refresher for them. But that's really it. Just a couple
that's
movies.
kind of like me. I've been this week enjoying my new TV. And I watched some of I don't know, for some reason Wyatt wanted to watch Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, nice.
It's funny though, like on these Ultra HD TVs, like you really see the CGI and goddamn, there's parts of it that just look terrible.
Yeah.
And but I've been watching a lot. I know there's new episodes of Clone Wars, but I've only watched the first one. I've been revisiting Rebels. Been watching the first season again. I'm like, man, some of those early episodes of Rebels are so good, and just a really well written show.
Yeah.
Frozen 2's been on my TV a lot, thanks to my daughter.
Clone Wars. Yeah, episode 4 came out.
Have you? Yeah, I'm behind.
Now it's episode 5.
It's 4 or 5. Yeah, I need to watch them. I've been behind on them.
Yeah,
it's only like 12 episodes. I'll probably just binge them after they come out.
Yeah.
There's something I watched. Yeah, I haven't. Altered Carbon watched the first episode. That's it. I need to get back into it.
Same here.
And
I watched the first episode. The wife hadn't seen the first season, so we started watching the first season again. I'm on episode 3 of the first season.
I feel like I watched something on Netflix this week, but I don't remember what it was. But, it's just been kind of like... No. I kind of wanted to rent, some movies, but, I'm afraid to rent for Redbox. What if that's someone's... do I need to sanitize them?
Oh, for real?
The movie and shit?
Bring some water and bleach. And
exactly. I still want to see Ford vs. Ferrari. I still want to see Parasite. There's movies from 2019 I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
I guess Parasite's supposed to be coming to Hulu. I wonder if it's already out, but I don't have Hulu. I've been thinking about doing that Disney Plus bundle where you get Hulu with it.
Oh, that's
it's not bad because Hulu by itself is $6.99, and Disney Plus is $5.99. The bundle you get is $12.99, and you get ESPN with it. So
I was going to cancel my TV this week because I was like, $85 a month. Really
that's
don't
less
use
than
it.
I'm paying.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it, but I'm just like...
I called and I told them, I was like, look, I just want to cancel it. And he's like, any particular reason? And I said, well, the lady that I talked to before said that I could step down to a lower package, but then I'd lose MLB Network and some of these other things that I do watch every so often. I said, and I was like, if that's the case, I'd rather just get another Fire Stick and hook it up to the internet, and to replace any TVs that only had the cable box. And he's like, well, I'm showing you're a platinum customer. I don't know if this was some script or whatever, but they lowered me down to $9 a month apparently for TV. And I was like,
fucking call him then. I'm paying like $140.
I was like, $9? And he's like, yeah, $9. I was like not $9, like not double digit, like single digit. Yeah, single digit. And I was like, and still like $35 for internet? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right.
Goddamn, I'm calling him tomorrow.
Yeah, dude. So I'm sure with taxes it'll be like $50 or something like that. But $50 for TV and internet?
Yeah, unfortunately I can't get AT&T internet where I live, so I'm stuck with Comcast. But if I could save fucking money on my TV, I'm paying like $150 a month for DirecTV.
You've been there for over 2 years, right?
Oh yeah, and I don't even fucking watch it hardly. Like you said, the kids watch cartoons, I watch baseball. I have it upstairs in the bedroom, and I never watch it upstairs.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna have to call.
Yeah,
and see
and
what's up.
for any of you guys out there, if you've been with AT&T or someone for a while, man, call them. And especially during this crisis, if you're like, hey, I'm having financial issues, is there anything you can do?
Dude, I'm gonna have to do. My kids can't eat and they can't watch TV.
I can't wipe my butt. I have to go into the shower.
No one has toilet paper. Do you realize what it's like to wash your ass?
I had to buy a bidet. I wish I did buy a bidet.
I thought you did buy one.
I did. I got one, and then it was.
I called you out of that shit, bitch.
Hell yeah, dude! I bought a butt blaster, and
did you actually hook it to your toilet?
I did. I hooked it up.
That's all I want to know. I have so many questions, but I'm not even going to ask.
I have used it as a water gun.
I'd rather ask, like, did Jackie use it?
She did. She did use it.
I would watch that.
Like camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2.
So you're officially like from England now.
Yep.
Is that where they use them at? I don't know. France?
France, yeah.
It's like a French thing.
It's got to be a France, because it sounds like a French name.
Yeah.
A bidet.
My cousin Misty lived in France, and she listens to the show, which I think sometimes she does listen to the show. She might correct me on that.
No.
Yeah. Because she lived in France. She might be like, it's not French. I don't know. And that's awesome. So you downloaded a bidet, technically.
From Amazon.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why I didn't watch more this week, considering there was nothing to fucking do since you're stuck at home all the time.
Yeah, my kids kind of took over the TV.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt this week. They kind of took it over. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try, since you have Rise of Skywalker in your Voodoo, I'm going to try to watch it this weekend.
Yeah. I pre-ordered it.
Definitely in my plans, hopefully at some point, to get that watched.
Definitely. It definitely looks good on a big TV.
Yeah. I mean, I saw it twice in theaters, but I want to watch it again. And I need to pre-order my Blu-ray copy because I don't want to go into a store and get it. I just want to have it delivered.
Yes. Social distance.
Social distance from Target and places, if I can help. Even though all the motherfuckers are in grocery stores.
Yeah.
So much for social distancing. And, all right, well, let's get into a film that is, man, I like this movie a lot. I realized watching it this week that I said in the preview last week, I'm not sure how well it holds up. Then I watched it this week, and I'm like, this movie just makes me grin from ear to ear as I watch it. And it is 1996's Mallrats.
Yes.
About a year ago, we covered Clerks for its 25th anniversary. So it's about that time. Let's do the sequel to Clerks. Essentially a sequel, sort of a sidequel, because it takes place... Actually, I think it takes place the day before Clerks, is what I was reading.
That's Mallrats. I thought it was the day after.
Or is it the day after?
Maybe it's the day before.
Might be the day before. I don't remember.
You're probably right.
But it's an interesting film because this, Clerks. Kevin had done Clerks on his credit cards, and he got Miramax to distribute it.
Yes.
And he didn't really have a deal for films yet, but Universal wanted to make his next picture. And the weirdest thing is, like, I actually never knew this, and I thought I knew all kinds of shit about Kevin Smith films because I'm a huge fan. He is like one of my podcast idols. I got his Funko Pop sitting up in the room here, and but I never knew that Universal was really adamant they did not want Jason Mewes to play Jay, and like that that's one of those things that blows my mind, man. I can't see anyone else not playing Jay. They almost had Seth Green casting the part. In fact, they had Seth Green on standby in case Jason fucked up. They could fire him on spot. And just bizarre to even think that now.
Wow.
20 years later, I can't even imagine anyone else playing Jay. That's from Jay and Silent Bob. And it's a small part of the movie, but man, could you imagine? It's so weird.
That's crazy. I mean, and I get it. I think that he's definitely one of those guys that can be too much.
Right.
But I think that he does it best in like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Right.
And I think of course the reboot, that he's really good in those two movies.
Yeah. But he's good in this too.
I think he's good in this too. I tend to like Silent Bob more, which is kind of funny because he doesn't talk a whole lot, obviously. But I feel like Silent Bob, was just funnier to me. Maybe he's just the bigger icon. Maybe it's because every once in a while I listen to Smogcast.
But to summarize Mallrats, though, it's basically it's about a day in the life of these two guys, T.S. and Brodie, and they both have broken up with their girlfriends. So what better thing did you do in the 90s if you just wanted to hang out with one of your buddies? You went to the mall.
For real.
You're probably a little young to remember that, but I did it quite often. Just went and hung out at the mall, walked around, thought you looked cool, even though you realize now as you're older, you weren't fucking cool. You would just go in stores and maybe look at stupid shit. Probably never buy anything. Maybe you got a drink at the fountain.
Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah, kind of what Brodie and T.S. do in this movie. They basically walk around and just look at stuff and talk about their shit.
Yep.
And that's essentially what the movie's about. And it is part of Kevin's View Askew universe, which was started in Clerks. We're introduced to Jay and Silent Bob. And they're the only two characters that are recurred in this. But there are mentions of other characters from Clerks, about the girl that drowns, and there's talks about
Brodie being Randall's cousin.
Yeah, Brodie's Randall's cousin. We do get Steve, Dave, and Walt do appear in this.
Yeah,
so they do appear in it, and so there's some continuity. And the Kevin Smith View Askew universe movies were always a loose continuity, but enough that the universe works. And of course, Jason Lee had never acted before. He was a skateboarder. And he was cast in this part. Ben Affleck was an unknown. The biggest star in this movie at the time was Shannon Doherty, coming off of her 9210 success. And, of course, he brought in Jay and himself playing Jay and Silent Bob from his Clerks film. And Scott Mosier appears in the film, his longtime producer and buddy from the Smodcast, who plays Svenny's assistant. Of course, Svenny is played by the great Michael Rooker. And then we get Ethan Suplee, one of his early roles, as he's trying to find the sailboat the entire movie.
Yes.
And Joey Lauren Adams is in the film playing, I can't think of her name. Gwen. Yeah. In the movie. So, it's a cast of characters that come together to tell a story about two guys being upset that their girlfriends dumped them, basically.
Yeah, you've got I feel like the whole, like, the movie kind of plays out like a sitcom to me. It's a little sitcom-y, but I like it.
Yeah.
It's full of memorable moments. I mean, and I feel like that's what helps you like drift back to this film. This is what reminds you of this film through time is just the quirky moments, like the Michael Keaton Batman '89, Jason and Jay and Silent Bob scene when they escape the cop, and they're like, and then you've got the Hulk smash or the Wolverine thing, and it's like right now it's like to someone new seeing it, it may seem kind of cheesy, but you never had a film talk about comics like that.
Well, that's the thing. Like we talked last year in Clerks, he mentioned Star Wars and other things, and in this movie he expands it. I mean, Stan Lee's in the movie. And Brodie's a big comic book fan, and you start to realizing, like with Mallrats, like, man, this guy is one of us. Like Kevin Smith gets a lot of credit for making comic culture cool by putting in his films and making it acceptable to be a geek, and this movie is full of it.
Full of it, man. It's like, and Brodie is like talking about geek culture in the weirdest way. I mean, Superman shooting his load and destroying Lois Lane, and then it does the Thing have a Thing penis, or is it regular? And Stan Lee's like, we'll talk about that later.
Does every part of Reed Richards stretch?
Yes. And Stan Lee, it's like he just, watching this movie just reinforces what a good guy Stan Lee is and how cool he is, and it's his best cameo ever. You could combine all the Marvel cameos into one, and I feel like this is still his better cameo.
And it's official, because in Captain Marvel, he's reading the script from Mallrats, which I thought was brilliant, that makes that the Mallrats is part of the Marvel Universe.
That's true. Oh, man, that's awesome. And isn't it funny how Kevin Smith kind of had this whole connected universe thing started from the get-go? So maybe Marvel owed him some royalties.
And this is the movie that started his friendship with Stan Lee, too, because he wrote the part for him, and he thought that, he didn't know if Stan would do it, and Stan's agents called Kevin back and said, yeah, he'll do it, and Kevin was blown away. He met him on the set of Mallrats, and it began a friendship that lasted up until Stan's death, where Kevin was always there. He did a lot of things with him, looking out for him, and stuff like that. And it all started with this movie, and a small but important part in the film, because when he's telling Brodie about relationships and superheroes and how he created Hulk and Spider-Man, he was doing it because T.S. had asked him to go talk to Brodie to convince him to go talk to Brenda.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the really funny scenes, like, but you might want to get him some help, because he seems really,
obsessed with penis.
With a superhero's
penis.
Anatomy.
Yeah, anatomy.
And it's delivered in the only way that Stan can deliver it.
For real. I mean, just that charm, that, awkward, but like him seemingly being awkward about it, but actually makes a really funny little comment, makes it into like a funny comment. The only way Stan could do. It's hard to explain. You just have to experience it.
And not only that, but how good is Jason Lee in this movie? Having never acted before, he's really funny, and he's got the face. His on-screen presence is very just humorous. You kind of want to laugh every time you see him.
Yeah,
he delivers his lines with like you believe that. Like, for a guy who's never acted, you believe that he's into comics that hardcore and everything he says, and he's really good in the movie.
And then the stink hand is my favorite scene. I mean, just I've always remembered it, and I first saw this movie censored. I saw it on Comedy Central. Yeah. We had cable that was on it, and that's I would often turn it on there, and that's how I saw some of these films that maybe a person my age at that time wouldn't see. And I just the pretzels, the chocolate pretzels, they are exquisite, and this Michael Rooker sells it.
Oh yeah,
he's so like I don't and then he just starts like licking his fingers, and you're like Well,
Michael Rooker is a fucking national treasure.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
The guy is just awesome.
And I was watching it with my wife, and of course at the beginning he's doing karate, and his towel falls off, and his ass just falls out of the towel, and I'm like, there you go. There's your one thing. I was like, because I knew I was going to get the fortune teller, scene.
What's funny is that's the one scene in the movie that doesn't work as well for me.
Yeah.
The fortune teller, it just feels like a cheap script gag to have titties in the movie. It makes it feel like an 80s TNA movie.
Yeah.
And like, because there's never a scene in any of his other films like that. This is the only time that Kevin really does a TNA gag. Actually, both TNA gags in this movie where Silent Bob sees Gwen's topless.
Yes.
And then and Kevin never does it again. And it almost feels like Universal Pictures almost asked for that. I'd have to go maybe read the story with the scripting from Mallrats, if that was Kevin's idea, or if it was something that Universal was like, hey, because rom-coms were starting to become the thing in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was a Universal Pictures thing to do that. Say, hey, let's put some boobs in this. Because it's interesting that Kevin never did that again in any of his films, But
and that's from the studio.
And the fortune teller scene is funny, but like it seems a little out of place in the movie,
Yeah. I think what makes it funny, the most funny, is that the third
Brodie's
nipple,
face.
Well, Brodie's face, and then the third nipple is like gum or something.
Right.
It's like, and she's like, I can only use my powers if I'm topless. I'm like, oh, interesting. And my wife's like, you watch this movie because there's boobs in it. And I was like, no, dude.
You just blame it on me. Mark picked this movie.
I was like, this is Mark. He picks the movies. But no, she actually thought it was pretty funny, and she enjoyed the film overall, and it was cool to see Gil, aka
Brian O'Halloran playing Dante's cousin Gil.
Yeah, and the guys knocked out. And then,
well, that's one of some of the best Jay scenes of the movie is in that part where he's like, "Let's smoke this," and he's like, he walks, he's like, "He knocked out that motherfucker, and he smoked this," and Jason does such a good job in that scene, and that's why I think he really came into his own. Yeah, I know he was having his drug problems back then, but I think Mallrats is where he really started getting the character of Jay down.
Yeah, that
we ended up getting in Chasing Amy, into Dogma, and into Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I don't think he's too much in this film.
No.
And I think, he's toned down. I think they definitely toned him down. Maybe that's because he was afraid to get fired. Like you said, if they had someone on standby, maybe he's like, okay, let me tone myself down from like a 12 to an 8.
And him and Silent Bob have some great moments where Silent Bob keeps trying to do the Jedi mind trick. And he's like, knock it off,
mind trick, man.
And Kevin does a good job of Silent Bob with his facial expressions and be like, what, fuck you. Like, he tells Jay, fuck you, so many times with just his eyes.
Yes.
And this is probably Silent Bob. He only has one line in this movie, and that's where he's quotes Yoda.
Yes.
Because he believes he gets the tape at the end to put it in there with a very young Ben Affleck in the movie.
And then the tape, Ben Affleck behind, oh, she's 15? Oh, come on, man. You would have hit that. And I was like, oh, dang. I was like, he does play a good asshole in this movie.
Yeah. But, he had not really done anything.
This was pre-Good Will Hunting, I believe.
Yeah. It had to be because Good Will Hunting.
Chasing Amy was post-Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. Well, Chasing Amy and Good Will Hunting were the same year. Because they were the next year in 97.
I think he had just filmed Good Will Hunting, and then he had started on Chasing Amy. And
And out of... a lot of Kevin's films are juvenile to a point.
Yeah.
But they're like this... But they seem to have like this adult juvenile to them where you laugh at him because his films are full of experiences that we've all dealt with in some way. We've known a stoner. We've known a guy that was just kind of quiet to himself. We've known the jock. We've known the nerd, the comic geek. And I think that's why his movies work. But Mallrats might be his most juvenile film because it does have some juvenile jokes and acts, but it's still funny. It's still not so stupid that you don't laugh. But then again, Jay and Bob Strike Back's pretty juvenile. I mean, it's got Jay with a giant boner in a fucking restaurant, so
Yeah.
But Mallrats is just—it's like the fun film in the group. You just put it on for an hour and a half, and you relax. You don't have to overthink watching this movie.
Yeah.
We introduced to a lot of characters that get to come back around later on, and. It's funny how it took me a bit when I was younger to wrap my head around the same actors playing different parts, like Holden and Banky, and from Chasing Amy are also Brodie and Shannon in this one. It was kind of weird, And then, of course, in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, they bring Banky and Holden. Well, no, Banky's not in reboot, but Holden's in reboot, which is weird. Then Brodie's in reboot, so it's all. But then Banky and Banky and Brodie are both in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So Jason Lee plays two different parts in that one. So it's all weird.
Randall, he only wanted to be in that first film, right?
Yeah, well, he did Clerks and Clerks 2.
That's right.
And even Clerks 2, Kevin had to beg him to be in. And that's one reason 3 has not been made yet, because Randall said no more. But from what I've read is I think they worked it out, and it looks like Randall's going to do Clerks 3. And then he's doing another Mallrats sequel, too. It's called Twilight of the Mallrats. It's the working script. And Kevin actually posted that recently. He said since California's quarantine, he says, well, it gives me time to finish the scripts for Clerks 3 and Twilight of the Mallrats.
Saw that he was working on both of those.
So we're going to get more. He tried to sell Mallrats as a sequel as a television show to Netflix, but come to find out that he did not own the rights to Mallrats because Universal owns it.
Oh.
But he owns the rights to some of the characters in Jay and Silent Bob, and I think if he's doing the Mallrats sequel, I think maybe he solved his problems with Universal. Mm-hmm. That would be the only reason I think the film is going to get made, because he didn't realize he didn't own the rights to the name Mallrats, but he owned the characters. That's why he was able to put Brodie and Jay and Silent Bob reboot and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. Or they worked it out somehow, probably. But Kevin is one of those directors that he's made some really good movies. He's made some bad stuff. Cop Out wasn't that good. That was a studio film. And, Bruce Willis, if you read his book, Bruce Willis caused a lot of problems on that set, not showing up, walking off the set and saying, I'm done for the day after working for an hour, and Kevin would plead with him. Kevin has talked a lot of shit about Bruce Willis and how he would never work with him again. He made Jersey Girl, which was not very good, but then he made some films in the middle, like Zack and Mary Make a Porno. That was okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it through Tusk. It was too weird for me. Red State was pretty decent.
Yeah, Red State.
And then
he's trying to be a better director.
Yoga Hosers is pretty bad, but it's also, I think you have to take Yoga Hosers for just being a kind of, you have to really be it's like a stoner movie. You got to get really high and watch that movie, I guess. But then he did Reboot, which I thought was fantastic. I've watched Reboot like 3 times. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun.
I like the how the ode to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, instead of spoofing Star Wars, they spoof Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel and their own movie.
Their own movie.
Yeah, but I really like Reboot. But Mallrats is amongst the Kevin Smith films. Probably, it's probably top 3 or 4 for me. I think Clerks is always going to have that special spot of being my favorite. But then I really like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and then Mallrats might sit at number 3 for me. I know Chasing Amy is arguably his best film because it was a critic's darling and all that.
Oh yeah,
and I do like Chasing Amy.
Siskel and Ebert ate it up.
But I do like Chasing Amy. It's a really good movie, one that we may talk about on the show one day. But it's not really that funny. It's more serious.
Now the dialogue is great.
Yeah,
as Siskel and Ebert, they were like, Hollywood needs to look at the dialogue. They're like, there's no wasted dialogue. It's real. It feels like a real conversation. And most of Kevin Smith's movies feel that way because, he was a normal person for a long time.
Well, that's how he did Clerks. He said Clerks is just stuff me and my buddies talked about.
Yeah.
And it shows. And Jay and Silent Bob are kind of things that him and Jay always wanted to do together, and have these crazy adventures. And I think that's why Kevin is so good. He relates to us. He uses social media a lot. He talks to fans a lot. He'll respond to fans on social media sometimes if he has the time to do it. And he's very open about his beliefs in geek culture and comics and his weed smoking and other things. And he's a podcaster too. And as podcasters, we've looked up to him because he's given us a voice to tell you anybody can podcast and go for it. And And I know in some recent years there's been some movement that people say not anybody can podcast because there's so many podcasts out there. But Kevin will still tell you, hey, if you have an idea, go for it and try to turn it into something.
Yeah.
He's a very inspiring person because he started for nothing and look what he built, a little mini Kevin Smith empire.
Yeah, for real.
And he loves Star Wars like us, But I think Mallrats is, if you're giving an honest rating, maybe it's a B plus. But as a fan, I might rank it a little higher, maybe an A. But so probably between a B plus and A for me.
I think if you're fair, a fair rating is a B plus. Yeah. Just for the humor, and the Stan Lee aspect is gonna give that grade a big boost. I think it definitely brings that B to a B. You can say that alone brings that B to a B plus or an A. But it's a fun film, still fun to watch, in my opinion. It wasn't a critic darling.
No, critics don't like it.
In fact, it bombed, for the most part. Yeah. Didn't make back its money, and
I think it came out like in October, which was a terrible time. Didn't get a good didn't get a good theatrical release.
And Kevin Smith did apologize for this film. Which I felt like he didn't have to, but he apologized.
Well, he came back around later and he said, I don't know why I did that. That was stupid.
Yeah.
Fuck y'all. Yeah, because he ended up realizing later, like, you know what? If y'all don't like it, oh well.
Which is how I feel whenever I watch it. I'm like, if you don't like it, I'm glad Jackie liked it. Makes me have hope for people that, are casual movie watchers, because that's what she is.
Has she seen Clerks?
I did have her watch some of Clerks. I don't think she watched all of it, though.
Yeah. There's some people that don't like Clerks 2 better because it's a little more, I don't know, higher budget, I guess.
Yeah.
I like Clerks 2 also, but Clerks is just something special about it,
Mm-hmm.
But Clerks 2 does have Rosario Dawson dancing on a rooftop.
It's true.
And I did that for my lead-in to some news. Rosario Dawson. It looks like she's going to play a live-action Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian. And at first this came across as a rumor, but then Variety picked up on this story. Comicbook.com, legitimate websites end up picking up the story.
Yeah.
And so it seems all but confirmed that we're going to get a live-action Ahsoka finally. And I think you couldn't have better casting Rosario Dawson.
She looks like Ahsoka.
Yeah. She's great. She's a great actress. She's nerdy. She loves Star Wars. Mm-hmm. She's campaigned before in the past. She's been wanting to be in Star Wars. So it looks like she finally got it. And that's badass. I mean, she's a great character. In case people don't know, Ahsoka Tano was introduced in the Clone Wars cartoon, which came out back a few years ago to tie into the prequels.
Yeah.
And with the last season currently playing on Disney Plus. And she became very popular overnight. She was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan. Mm-hmm. She was feisty and loving, and then she went on to appear in the Star Wars Rebels also. And if you watch Star Wars Rebels, you know that she survives that. And Rebels ends at the Battle of Endor, so we know she's alive in this timeline that the Mandalorian takes place in. So if this is true, which it seems to be, like I said, major, entertainment magazine like Variety picked up on it, then I'm all for this. I'm like, this is badass.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
I'm like,
there's nothing to...
I want Mandalorian Season 2 to come now to see what happens. And I hope that she has her double-wielding... I wonder if they're going to use her double-wielding white sabers like she had...
That would be cool.
In Rebels.
I feel like you have to.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We never seen live-action white sabers.
Mm-hmm.
We got the yellow saber within The Rise of Skywalker, so
yeah,
you never know. But good news if it's true. And as far as news, that's kind of the only news coming out of Hollywood this week because, man, with this coronavirus, it's we now have The Matrix 4 has delayed production. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Mission Impossible 7 has started refilming after a few weeks of shutdown because they're filming in Prague, and I guess Prague doesn't seem to be having some of the problems. Some of the others, so they've given them permission to continue filming. I guess they only had about a week left of filming there.
Okay.
So they're trying to get it done. Disney has moved all the release dates around. Black Widow's been moved back. Mulan has been moved back. Their new Pixar film Onward, which just hit theaters, and AMC, Cinemark, Regal are all closing their theaters for an undisclosed amount of time.
Yeah.
So Onward is going to go to digital on the 31st, or no, I think
the
Monday.
4th. I thought it was the 4th.
No, Disney Plus on the 4th.
Oh, that's right.
It's going to go to digital like this Monday.
That's right.
So a lot of these movies are coming out where you can rent them or buy them digitally or quickly.
I saw a rumor that Wonder Woman was going to go straight to digital.
Warner Bros. Already came out though and debunked it. They released statements saying we're just waiting to see what happens. It's not going to go straight to digital right now. My only thing is the price point, like the Blumhouse stuff, like Invisible Man, $20 just to rent it. That's a bit steep. I don't see too many people buying into that. Now, if you have a family of 4 or 5, okay, $20 I guess isn't that bad. It's what you'd pay for in the theaters, but that's a buying price, $20. You know, and I wonder how well that'll do.
I thought about going to go see The Hunt, but I don't want to rent it for $20.
Right? Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to spend like the $8 on it.
Yeah, this stuff you can just be. I think it's going to cause people to just be patient and I could just buy it in a few weeks when it's officially for sale, or rent it for $6 or on Vudu or whatever. So that seems a little pricey, but this virus thing is causing a lot of havoc with Hollywood, and now all these movies are getting delayed. They have to figure out these release windows because they plan these release windows a year or two out because it's all strategy.
Yeah,
you'll put the movie out at a certain point so you can make your box office and be successful and not have 2 of your own studio films run into each other. Especially Disney. Disney has stuff planned out the next 3 or 4 years, and now they have to find a spot for Mulan and a spot for Black Widow, and then the movie we did last week, A Quiet Place. They have to find a place for A Quiet Place too, and it's caused a mess. You fucking virus,
for real,
and
derailed everything.
A lot of TV shows have stopped production because of it. Like a lot of CW shows, like the last few episodes of Arrow or The Flash, and all those shows that are on delayed right now because so who knows when we'll get their season finales, and what a clusterfuck.
It really is. I mean, it's nothing like this has ever happened. Never.
World War II might have caused delays in some things back then. They caused delays in the Major League Baseball season back then, and they had scrub players, things like that. Hollywood, production slowed down on movies back then, but nothing in modern times to this scale. And it's crazy, man. I'd be really pissed off if Top Gun gets delayed, because that's like, you mentioned Wonder Woman. I want to see Wonder Woman, but Top Gun's like at the top of my list to see this year.
Yeah, that was.
And I'm like, God damn it, man. I mean, I don't know. That's still about 3 months away, but hopefully, maybe we'll have some miracle cure by then.
Yeah, hopefully it's cleared up by then.
I hope, because otherwise, we're going to be in for a long year of nothing to do. And then, I wonder too the impact of this. Like, let's say things clear up and the virus gets better, and will people flock to theaters immediately? That's another question, because people might still... There's going to be that part of the population that's still going to be really leery about going out for quite a while. People haven't even considered that. Mass gatherings and going back to theaters. It might take a little while for people to return to their normal day-to-day activities, even if things do seem better.
Probably so.
I mean, it could take up to a year. People might not be comfortable with going back out until they actually have that vaccine in them. And they feel comfortable saying, okay, I'm safe to go, And because we do know that they've already tested a vaccine, but it's going to take up to a year before it knows that it works well, and then to mass produce it. So, God damn you, COVID-19, fucking my Hollywood shit.
A little bit of time.
And but yeah, that's really all the news I got. Do you have your script plan?
I do.
Because so we have a Patreon, of course, and on our Patreon episodes, we tend to do movies that aren't as popular, that should have been popular, and they were to a certain extent, but didn't turn out well. Like we did come in this week on Patreon is Godzilla, and we did Ghost Rider last month, and next month we're doing Highlander 2. Excuse me. So if you haven't joined our Patreon, you can for just $2 a month at therebelradiopodcast.com. You get this exclusive episode every month. One of the little things we do on that show's a little different than this show, is where we read a piece of a movie script, and Matt or I get to guess it, and we can ask, if we don't get it right, we can ask a couple of questions for hints, or sometimes there's a second read where we read the characters' names if it doesn't give them the way of the movie. So we wanted to preview that for you, since the news and things are a little slow. We wanted to do the script game. We don't have a name for the script game. We need to think of a name for one.
Yeah, we need instead of saying script game,
Yeah. So on the Godzilla episode, I read the script. I'm not going to say what it was because the episode's not out yet for Patreons.
Yeah.
But so we want to preview this for you. So Matt picked a script to read, and I'm going to try to guess.
So it goes like this. I don't want any more trouble like you had last year in the Fillmore district. You understand? That's my policy. Yeah, well, when an adult male is chasing a female with the intent to commit rape, I shoot the bastard. That's my policy. Intent? How'd you establish that? When a naked man is chasing a woman through a dark alley with a butcher knife and a hard-on, I figure he isn't out collecting for the Red Cross. I think he's got a point.
Motherfucker. I know this movie. I just can't think of the name of it.
We've been talking about it lately. Here and there.
We have?
Yeah, and we even did... Yeah, okay. I don't want to give you too many clues.
Can you read it with character names without giving it away?
Yeah, I'll alter it so it doesn't completely give it away. Mayor. I don't want any more trouble like you had last year in the Fillmore district. You understand? That's my policy. Callahan. Yeah, well, when an adult male is chasing a female with the intent to commit rape. Oh, you got it?
Is it the first Dirty Harry?
Yes, it is. It is the first Dirty Harry.
I thought so. I couldn't remember if it was that or Sudden Impact where he says that line. Because I remember the naked with a heart-on line.
Yes.
And I just couldn't. That's what got me. I'm like, oh, fuck, I know this movie.
Yeah, because we did Naked Gun, a few months ago or something, maybe 5 months ago. 6 months ago?
About a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago now. But yes, and they spoof this thing.
No, that's when you said that. I'm like, damn, I know it's a. I just was thinking Sudden Impact, but it's the first Dirty Harry movie. So, fuck. So that's what we do on our Patreon. On our Patreon, we also do pop culture picks of the month. We also do pop culture moments of the month, where we discuss things that happen in pop culture history.
Yes.
And we do a script game along with talking about featured films. So for just $2 a month, you can get that exclusive episode every month on therebelradiopodcast.com, and it gets sent to you through the Patreon app, which you can download on your phone, or you can listen to on your computer. So it's very easy access. And we have a $2 tier, a $5 tier. It's going to get you a sticker and a pin also, which I'm getting the pins hopefully made soon. This virus thing has kind of put a dent in things. And we have a higher tier for $15, where you get a T-shirt thrown in there too. But $2 an episode gets you $2 a month gets you the exclusive episodes every month. So if you have $2 to spare and love the Rebel Radio Podcast, we would appreciate if you spent that $2 on us.
Yes,
and listen to the show, because we've got big things planned in the month of April, which we're technically starting next week, but the episode will be out on March 30th, so it's technically the beginning of April.
Yeah,
that's next Monday, the 30th. That sounds right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm just guessing. Like is the sequels that made us month. You like my title for the theme of the month? Like the movies that made us. So we're going to be doing sequels to movies that we've already covered on the show since we rebooted the podcast with episode 81. And so the month of April, we're going to do sequels. We are going to do... I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the movies we're going to do. We're going to do Aliens, since we already covered Alien.
Yep.
We're going to do X-Men 2, since we already did X-Men. We are going to do Beneath the Planet of the Apes, since we already did Planet of the Apes. And we are going to do The Road Warrior, since we've done Mad Max. And we are, for our Patreon next month, we are doing Highlander 2, The Quickening. But to kick off sequel month next week on the show, the very first movie we did when we rebooted the show was 1989's Batman. When that's what we kicked off our reboot of the show. Mm-hmm. So what proper way than to kick off the sequels that made us month, then let's cover Batman Returns.
I've been down here too long. It's time for me to ascend.
From the sewers of Gotham, a new villain emerges.
You didn't invite me, so I crashed.
From the rooftops of Gotham, the perfect enemy comes to life.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar. Yeah.
And the only one who can save this city is a creature of the night.
Hey, stud. I thought we had something together.
We do. While she craves a romance she can sink her claws into,
You're catnip to a girl like me.
he plots a foul reign of destruction.
My dear penguins, thanks to Batman, the time has come to punish all of Gotham!
You missed. Above Gotham looms its greatest hero.
Yes. My favorite Catwoman, isn't this?
A very good Catwoman. A sequel that's kind of bizarre.
Yes.
Batman kills in this very quickly.
And we almost had Marlon Wayans in this film.
Did we? Yeah, that's right. I remember that. We still have Michael Keaton being Michael Keaton. We have a very interesting Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Yes.
May not be the best Batman movie ever made, obviously, but it's not
the worst.
It's not a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It's legitimately has some good moments in it. Catwoman's great. The end sequence I really like, where Batman, Penguin, and Catwoman are all going head to head.
Yeah.
It's got the great Christopher Walken in it. But it's weird. It's really weird for a Batman movie, and it takes place at Christmas time, which is very odd too. But it'll be fun to talk about to kick off our sequels that made us month next week on the show when we talk Batman Returns. So I don't know are the Batman films on Netflix right now? I think just the Nolan films.
Just the Nolan ones.
But these are easily accessible if you want to watch along with us. You've either already seen it, or you can probably rent it for 99 cents on Vudu or Amazon Prime, I'm sure.
Now, a couple months ago, these were.
Yeah, they might be free on Vudu right now. In fact, I think they are.
Maybe they are. That's where I
Yeah, I think they are free on Vudu right now. And but I own them all on Blu-ray, so I'm good to go with this. But so that's on next week's show. The sequel that made us month begins with Batman Returns, barring that we don't get told to stay home.
Yes.
But that is the plan for our next episode should be next week. But if it happens to be in a month, you know why. Just follow our social media. We'll let you know what's going on. By the way, go to theroboradiopodcast.com and click on the social media links so you don't miss a thing. And I got to give a shout out to my boy Charles at work. His last name, you're wearing a John Wick shirt. His last name is Wick.
Oh, wow.
Actually. I always kid him about that. But Charles, man, has been really supporting the show a lot, adding a lot of his friends to the group, the Facebook group, and I can't thank him enough for the support, man. So shout out to my boy Charles. You a good dude, even for an Asian. he'll laugh at that. Yeah, I'm always fucking. I always call him Bruce Lee and shit.
Does he walk into a room full of Russians and they're like, "Oh, it's Wick"? And they're like, "Oh, wait, it's just Charles Wick."
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
no,
all.
it's okay, guys. It's just Charles Wick.
It's not the boogeyman.
Yeah.
So, but thank you though, Charles, for your support of the show, and anybody listening to the show. Thank you for your support, and of course to our Patreons for supporting the show. And be safe out there. Be clean. Wash your hands or your buttholes.
Yes.
And stay away from Corona beer because I've heard it causes a virus.
It could.
Why would you want to drink that fucking shit anyway?
Nah, drink Tecate. If you want, an international lager, there's no Tecate virus.
That's right.
Yeah.
But until next time, hopefully we are talking to you again next week. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And like I said, be safe. And we hope we helped you escape from the world for an hour.
Yes.
And thank you as always for listening. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
As always, remember, just go there and do it.
This is Chuck Huber. You're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast. Stop being so awesome.